can get started with in-person questions.
In-person questions.
All right. Hey, how you doing?
What's up, Crane?
When you sat back and watched review of the first game, what kind of stood out to you? Did it feel the same thing as you felt live immediately afterwards, or just kind of what stood out upon review?
I think the thing that felt the same from live to review was just our energy level was really high. We were really active, disruptive, played super hard. I think we got a boost from being opening night and a good crowd, and now we got to take that show on the road. I felt probably actually maybe our defense was a little better on film than I felt in person. New York missed some shots, obviously, but we had a lot of multiple effort possessions.
We've talked a lot about Shakira and the next step for her and a little bit more freedom. And I feel like everybody was so involved in that first game that she might have got lost a little bit in the mix. But is that two things just going to be the process when you have so many people that there's going to be some games where she might take a little bit of a back seat and just kind of, is it important to kind of actively get her going?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out, to be honest with you. She didn't play the preseason game, so that was our first live action with her with the rest of the group. She had like a play where she went to the rim and scored and gets called for the offensive foul. So there's like a couple swing plays where it would have looked like maybe a bigger game. But we're just trying to pick our spots, like still trying to figure out where we can get her the ball or put her in action that gives her an advantage. Trying to figure out the same thing with Elena, trying to figure out the same thing with Ariel. So our best offense the other night was in transition, and she made a couple plays there. So the half court stuff is a work in progress.
And just one last one for me. When you're trying to prep for the Sun, a lot of core players that you're really familiar with, but Stephanie's new and a couple other new pieces. So is it similar to New York where you know the players but don't know exactly what they want to do, or how does that prep kind of come along, or is that just like part of early season basketball regardless?
It is similar. It's kind of funny. You can see some of the old Indiana Fever playbook along with stuff that this Connecticut group has done. Alyssa Thomas and Brianna Jones and Bonner, and they go around the world winning, playing a certain way, USAB and overseas. So, an Alyssa Thomas team's always going to look a certain way with Brianna Jones now as their main post partnership. The first challenge is a physical challenge on the boards, in the paint. Stuff now with their personnel, but it's a new look with them with Tip Hayes and some new bench players and everything. So yeah, still a little bit of a new look.
Eric, you grew up at this arena, obviously. What to come back here as the head coach? Like, do you have any emotions about it, or any particular memories of being a kid here with, the Lake Taj, and your dad?
I think the Taj night thing is, it being Taj's day is probably the thing the most, because we played her so many times now as a road team. Some of that stuff went away. I mean, we played in the finals here. We played those early. I think this was one of our first road games, our very first year in DC. So more of it's just cool. We saw Lindsay Whalen last night, and we got Taj getting the post game ceremony today. So some memories of that team for sure. People forget how good Taj was, how clutch she was, and how smart she was, and she was kind of the one that led the charge with this group when the team first got here.
Does it feel different as the head coach? We were talking about, you have more decisions to make now, and more like bad guy instead of good guy. How has it been without your dad, and to be like the head coach? How has it been for you so far?
I'm grateful I got a little taste filling in for a few games, because I think that prepared me a little bit more. Trying to figure out the rotations on the fly is different because I'm the head coach, but also because it's the start of the season. And so you're trying to figure out still your own team and what are good groups and when's a good time to sub. And you don't know exactly yet when that team's going to sub because they haven't played games. So that's all something we're learning on the fly. But most important thing for me is to get a feel for our own team.
You get that first win the other night. The girls showered you with some water. You looked like a little surprised or reticent to be celebrated, but was that a fun, celebration?
The water itself was not fun. It was nobody had the decency to take the bottles out of the fridge for a bit beforehand. It was good. I think it was just a good way to start. Besides the stuff about me, it was a good way for us to start at home. You want to win that first home game. Takes not that we feel the pressure to win always, but you don't have to you're wondering when that first win's going to come, we got our win. Now we can just get into the rhythm of the season. We know we got a good team now twice that we have to play. And so now it just feels like we're in the season.
A great question too about coming back home. Kind of want to piggyback off of that. First off, good morning to you.
What's up? I didn't know you were coming up. Very nice to see you.
Good to see you as well. I guess with your unique experience, I asked Ariel and Slim, when you're on the road, you kind of rally around everyone, but it's like you're almost home. So how the dichotomy of that? How do you kind of, I guess, going to this game, like it's like home and away, just imagine those emotions.
It's nice to see people that I used to know when we were here. It doesn't feel like home that much anymore in terms of, you know, we stayed at the hotel and haven't left the casino since we got here. And now even some of my friends and people are like, don't live here anymore. And so it's, I've got some in-laws in the crowd and we're very familiar with the arena, but other than that, it's a road game. And, you know, it's been a minute since we won up here. So it'd be nice to get one. And
then also, I know we talk about the defense, but can you just give me something else on film that you saw and was like, wow, let's carry that over to this game tonight?
I think our tempo, or, you know, the way we ran it back at New York, even when they scored, or even there was a moment I think I talked about the other night when they scored a couple times and we could have kind of slowed down, and we went and we executed. We got a couple buckets in a row and they had to call timeout. So I didn't think we were as efficient as we could be on offense, but I liked the what we were trying to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go to Zoom now. We'll start with Jen.
Hey Eric, how are you?
Hey, Jen.
I asked the players this too, but playing Connecticut twice in a row here so early in the season, is it helpful timing to be able to kind of dial in and focus on a scouting report, or does it not really matter to you how this is set up?
Doesn't matter a lot. In a way, we might dial in more to a scouting report after we've played them once, because it was a quick turnaround for both teams. I mean, from a 7 o'clock on Friday night to a 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon with travel in the middle. We could walk through and go, you know, watch some film, but not a lot of prep like you normally would, you know, in a playoff series or something like that. So we'll play tonight, see how it goes, and we'll get a day tomorrow to make some adjustments for Tuesday. And I think they're pretty much in the same boat.
And then I was going to ask you about Taj as well. So just kind of following up on that, you know, you said people forget how good she was on the court. Any specific memories of what she was able to do, or maybe a game where she stood out, or what comes to mind?
Taj had a knack for making the play in the fourth quarter, just like the seems so obvious when you watch, just be in the right place at the right time. Maybe had an offensive rebounded for a while and then just is arriving right at the front of the rim to tip it in or to be available on a roll. I think there were some great plays over the year with her and Lindsay where Lindsay would just find her on a little drop off pass late in the game. She could sell a fake handoff like nobody else. We won a couple games with that. And defensively, she was so smart. She knew the book on every post player. She might even give them their favorite move a couple times just to take it away late in the game. She just had an unbelievable knack and a brain for the game. You know, even as she was up into her, I think she played into her 40s. So even as she got up into her 40s, still could just make effective plays.
Awesome. Thank you.
She was fearless. Yeah.
Patrick.
Hey, Coach. I asked Slim about her performance on Friday, mainly the rebounds and the steals. And she was just talking about not really, I guess, not wanting to leave anything on the court when she goes out and plays. Just, you know, talking about what she does, having players like Tosh, Ariel. Can you just talk about the luxury of having players like that want to do the things that maybe every player doesn't want to do? The defensive side, the kind of getting down and dirty.
Yeah, Slim fits the mentality of this team. It's a group that likes to defend. They like doing the dirty work. I think even when you watch Elena, which is not how people see her, she is moving her feet and taking the challenge on Stewie and Alyssa Thomas and people like that. But, you know, Slim, we're going to figure out how to use her best offensively. But right now it's a pretty seamless fit on the defensive end. She just is so disruptive. You know, I've always said Tosh is like a shutdown corner and Ariel's a free safety. I don't know what Slim is. She just out there wreaking havoc all over the floor. So that's a pretty good perimeter group.
And obviously, you all are, not only are you in the conversation to win the championship this year, but I mean, the first game, you know, playing against the Liberty, that was a a highly talked about matchup. Just want to ask you, just not necessarily about your game, but just about the league in general, Friday and Saturday. Just kind of what were your impressions of how this 2023 season started?
I think other than maybe Vegas yesterday, I think generally the defense maybe is ahead of the offense right now across the league. I think only a few teams scored in the 80s or higher, but not shocking. You just don't get a lot of practice time, and when you have good defensive teams, it's tough to score. I mean, even New York, they're not what they're going to be, but they're still so big and long. They can make it tough. So I don't know. There's some teams that need some time to gel. Some teams like us in Connecticut that have a little bit more continuity. And we'll see how it plays out over the next few weeks.
All right. Thanks a lot.
I think that's it, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you all.